Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics at KingComics.CA, Big Baby, Starcrasher. Check out my videos on YouTube. King Comics 2021 is my channel. Check me out on Instagram, MaximusRex13, and on Facebook, MaxRex and or Big Baby. Today, guys, it is JAE LEE Tuesday. We're looking at the next issue in his Namor, the Submariner run. This is issue number 28, cover dated July 1992. So this is the series where, you know, JAE LEE got kind of a regular gig and practiced his chops for moving on to Image pretty soon. I think in about a year or so, he's going to be moving over to Image Comics. So his style slowly getting there, evolving issue to issue. At least on the cover, we see slowly where he's going aesthetically towards, I would say in this case, the Simon Bisley kind of aesthetic and vibe as far as the anatomy and the musculature and the veins and stuff, and even just some of the rendering. Looks great to me, works really well. And again, he's so young at this time, 17 or something like that, working on this comic. So his sense of design is impeccable. I mentioned before, just this little kind of simple way. He's got such a, you know, I was thinking about it before I started shooting. The word I would use for JAE LEE overall is elegant. He's just got, even like, as much as the aesthetic changes and the anatomy gets exaggerated and crazy and Image style for a while, and his style has constantly evolved over the years, there was always, even from the beginning, design-wise, just an elegance to what he does. I guess, like I said, it's the best word I've come up with to kind of describe his design sense and his composition. So there you go. We're going to have a look inside, see what's going on there. So I will mention the inside's a little bit different because, let's read the credits. John Byrne writes, Joey Cavalieri does the script, JAE LEE is doing the pencils, and Jeff Albrecht is doing the inks. So JAE LEE is not yet inking himself on this comic, and eventually when that first issue where he does, you will see a major difference, but not compositionally, obviously, but aesthetically. But when we get to that, we'll talk about it. Jeff Albrecht, again, sorry, inks, Michael Higgins, letters, Glynis Oliver, colors. Listen, look at the shot here. There's, you know, it's pretty sound anatomically. The foreshortening is well done. You know, it's, I would say that the anatomical knowledge here is definitely above a Rob Liefeld, for example. And just this, again, the simple and elegant way he gets the background out of the way with, you know, the silhouette rubble here and just these quick lines here that, you know, maybe more down to the inker than JAE LEE in the finish. But just works really well and looks like a piece that, as exciting and as great as I think it is as a drawing, was probably done pretty quickly. Mention again that JAE LEE's said, you know, in around this time he's doing 6-7 pages a day. Craziness, but you know, the storytelling is clear. He again chooses simple and elegant ways to depict stuff. I love here the way the panel is like cut short here. You know, the only suggestion that this is a panel is right there. Even back here, there's almost nothing. Here he uses just the fire and the bottom kind of horizon line here for the panel. You know, this is overlapping that. It's, you know, showing these stars going at him from a profile, from a 3/4, and then almost a head-on shot, like all of that. And the way this moves here, the design is impeccable. And, you know, the reading direction, it's, yeah, this guy's already mastered all this stuff and he's, you know, not yet an adult. Just all the storytelling, the choice of angles, like this is great here. Simple, effective, just silhouettes. A lot of silhouettes in JAE LEE stuff, right? But simple and effective silhouettes for sure. There's one. There's the sticks, the background, and then there's one there. And then when it comes to, like, look at this kind of, you know, the genius of just doing kind of a hugely silhouetted profile kind of deal that kind of frames everything, right? You can believe that this kind of is the bottom of this structure here, and that goes up here, and that's part of it there. And then, you know, the other side of that structure is this here, where we actually do get a bit of perspective, right? But a rounded one, and just so elegant and well done. It's amazing to me at this young an age, the compositional skills. Again, you know, consistent, still doing backgrounds, and still doing relatively, you know, fairly realistic superhero proportions overall. That would change, obviously, a little bit later. Kind of an angular line. You know, I don't know if that's more the inker than JAE LEE, but it seems to work here. A lot of its backgrounds are fairly angular. And then you get some interesting flourishes where, like, wow, did someone, like, is that a brush or even just a square Sharpie? I feel like that's a Sharpie. And you just, like, amazing, the balls to do that. But it kind of works. It has... Early JAE LEE has... the aesthetic I would describe it as is like late 80s, early 90s hairdressing magazines. I always feel like, you know, those girls or those ladies with the short haircuts and like just the way he draws that fine line and stuff. I'm always associated for some weird reason with like late 80s, early 90s hairstyling magazines. It's an odd reference, I guess. Look at that, and like just so simple yet so effective, right? Well designed, beautiful silhouette, dark frame, moon. Next page. So we get more hints of our villain that we saw at the end of last issue, that last page. And we're back to him. Obviously, he's a cackling villain. Ha ha ha. John Byrne's writing it. But this shot here, is that him or is that his castle? I think that's him. Oh, yeah. So those would... You know what? I'm not even sure. But those are his hands. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. What an odd looking silhouette. But looks cool. So, haha. Not going to say anything. Here's where, and I'm going to point out a little bit later, sometimes I might be seeing something that's not there, but I see a bit of a John Romita Jr. kind of squarish influence here on the way the head is shaped and composed. Maybe that's just me. But there's a very angular kind of John Romita Jr. kind of quality, at least to this shot here. And you'll see some textures later. Then he'll do like a slightly, like, I don't know how to describe this face. It's almost manga. You know what I mean? Like a bit of Rob Liefeld mouth, but like better than Rob Liefeld, I guess is how I describe it. So the style is shifting somewhat, but the composition, the storytelling keeps it all kind of tied together. But again, look at this like tortuous, like round perspective kind of distortion here that he does so well. And the simple, effective backgrounds. It's the simplicity of it. There's that Alex Toth kind of quality, even though, you know, the artwork is quite extreme and stuff, but the design sense, like, you know, throw up her shoulder here and just put a bunch of lines to texture it. And then the hair has so little texture and it's so fine that it separates, right? Like it makes everything so clear and separate. Easy to read visually. He's just a master of it. And then when he starts getting into the shadows on this page here, again, being inked by someone else, but even then it's still pretty darn clear what's going on. There's some quick inking going on here. Sorry, it's just the sound of quick inking. Like, look at that hand. I mean, you could have left it open, but it is kind of interesting to do this. I think it works. Like all this stuff, this tree that's almost just basically like negative space, right? Except for that hatching texture they added. All the different textures he uses to create these different planes. Like he's doing kind of the 90s hatching, but in a different way. I don't know how else to describe it. It's, again, more elegant than what the Jim Lees and the Rob Liefelds are doing. To me, anyways. And again, he is being inked by someone else here, so that's going to change a little bit. But again, it's just that elegance always stays. Whoever the colorist on this book is, too. I said Glynis Oliver, I think. I'm pretty sure she's, like, they seem to be using that good quality paper newsprint that I always like. I haven't talked about in a while, but like production value wise, the colors are sitting well here on the paper. Like there's no offset stuff. I think they pretty much, right before they go move on to computer coloring, they had mastered this type of printing. And with JAE Lee's style, yeah, you wouldn't want to do too much modulation. I think just flat colors really works well here. Oh, what a beautiful open panel. And yeah, so sometimes he does try like just slightly off kilter, interesting stuff. These weird panel shapes here gives it kind of a horror edge. And this open panel, once again, with these, man, just his layering and his structuring is just, what a great page. Just design-wise. And here's where we start to see a little bit of what I, again, will kind of call that somewhat John Romita Jr.-ish kind of inking on top of clothing to create those folds and stuff. It'll be a little more obvious later. I did want to point out this too, this chemical plant here with the upshot, and it's kind of distorted and twisted once again. It's kind of a Tim Burton kind of vibe to it. Just great stuff. Even this, drawing Namor in front of a a fence like that. Like penciling, that's not so bad. Having to ink this, oh my god. I gotta say, like all the other stuff is pretty quickly done, expeditive, but this here is a bitch to ink. Great result though, works so well. So here they are attacking Axis Chemicals. I think there's some sort of environmental vibe to Namor back then, I guess. That was kind of his thing. There always has been to a certain extent, since he attacks the surface dwellers from the water. Often in storylines where he's, kind of like Aquaman, where he's angry at the earth dwellers for, throwing garbage in the oceans and water and stuff. Yeah, so this stuff here, like this panel here, or at least this shot, just to me almost doesn't look like JAE LEE. This looks like some John Romita Jr. inked by Klaus Janson. That's, if you show me that panel out of context, that's what I would think that was. Did he maybe swipe it a little bit? Does he do that? I have no idea. Maybe. But yeah, just this type of rendering on the clothing here, so John Romita Jr. And again, is that up to him or the inker? I'm not quite sure. It's a good choice though. I think it makes it kind of energetic and dynamic as well because it's done so quickly. Like it adds movement to the drawing. Great silhouette once again of this tank exploding. The fuel bins. And boom. Just the whole top of that cliffside exploding and falling into the water. And I mean, just look at this again, the simple kind of clear way he's used to create kind of the foreground water here hitting the rocks and stuff, and then the background water is a completely different texture, and both work together. And I mean, I still struggle to draw proper water, and this guy's doing it like at such a young age. It's crazy. Maybe the inker's helping him out a little bit, but I mean, this at least structurally looks a lot like JAE LEE. And even these, again, for the water, I see that what I'll term an elegant line from Jim Lee that he still kind of has today, right, in his work, even though it has refined a little bit and changed and evolved, right? But this is, yeah, I'm really enjoying these issues, or seeing that kind of evolution in JAE LEE's art. I know that's a good run to see something like that. So yeah, glad to be reviewing these. So that is it for today's review, guys. If you are still subscribed and you're still watching, thank you so much for the loyalty. I really appreciate it. If you are watching but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a quick second. It really helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. So everyone out there, thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.